by 40% viewership from 2022 to 2023. But with Caitlin Clark's arrival, it's grown by 400% viewership. What that means is if the WNBA were continue to grow at the rate it grew from 22 to 23, it would take until 2028 to do what Caitlin Clark did this year. Okay, now let's not talk viewership, let's talk ticket sales. Bear with me. Ticket sales grew in 2023 by 16% from 2022. Ticket sales have grown by 93% in 2024. What that means is without Caitlin Clark, the WNBA would have taken till 2029 or 2030.
The WNBA are panicking after viewership dropped after Caitlin Clark was eliminated from the playoffs. Ever since Clark and the Indiana Fever bowed out of the WNBA playoffs, the league's viewership has taken a dive that could give any reality show plot twist a run for its money. And we're not talking about a minor bump in the road. This is a huge ratings crash. When Caitlin's not on the court, it seems like fans don't watch the WNBA.
Same thing in the WNBA. The WNBA is a very niche product. Throughout the season, though, the media has created this narrative that the WNBA is full of mainstream stars. The WNBA has an abundance of players that people are willing to pay money to watch miss layups. When the reality is, people are not willing to pay pesos to watch this garbage.
The Fever's last playoff game pulled in a massive 2.54 million viewers. Not only was this the most watched WNBA game of the year, but it was also the most viewed ever on cable. But after they were eliminated, other WNBA games struggled to reach those numbers, as fans seem to be saying, if Caitlin's out, we're out too.
394,000 for the rest of the WNBA teams. So the question here is, before we get into Caitlin Clark's season, what it was, what it's going to mean, people are already calling for a change to the WNBA format playoff because, like we just saw, I think a lot of people were unaware. I actually am going to be honest, I was unaware. I had no idea how the WNBA playoff format was laid out up until this season because I never watched. Probably like most people. In the first round of the playoffs, it's the best out of 3 games. Different than what we see in the NBA, which is best out of 5 games. So we didn't even...
Stephen A. Smith jumped right in with his hot take, dubbing Clark the golden goose of the WNBA. And honestly, he's got a point. When Caitlin can attract more than double the viewership of a WNBA finals game, it's hard to deny her impact. Smith didn't just stop there. He emphasized how Caitlin had practically been carrying the WNBA on her shoulders this season.
Was incredible, breaking all types of records, and that's something she was certainly proud of. We saw lots of smiles on the court as far as Caitlin Clark was concerned. Additionally, and we've talked about it a lot, Caitlin Clark is just such a class act. She held her head high despite being embroiled in so many different controversies throughout the entire course of the season. I mean, we saw dirty play after dirty play on Caitlin Clark, and still, she did not waver in keeping her composure. And that is something, as a 22-year-old, you have to be really, really respecting of, because a lot of 22-year-olds, you're not maybe as mature as you might be at other ages at that point in time. And she just handled every single situation with the highest levels of dignity and class again.
This season, the WNBA saw 22 regular season games draw over 1 million viewers, which is a massive deal for any sport. And she was a part of 21 of those games. Fans don't believe it's a coincidence. There are still some skeptics out there questioning whether she's really that significant. But if they take a look at the ratings, it's pretty clear.
Now, WNBA, actual W
right.
fans.
Yeah, let me get it right.
That's going to be the argument.
The W.
Do you want? Go ahead.
But I was going to say, like, the ratings aren't bad even without her on the screen. You know, they're still up.
Yeah.
Year to year, but
because of her.
Well, right. But now does that carry over? Right. Like I didn't think it was going to carry over in college basketball. Right. But the ratings are still up. But is that going to be a headline when they dip when she's not playing? And now they have to go through the postseason. They're going head-to-head with the NFL. We pointed that out yesterday, which isn't smart. But it's programming for ESPN. And McClain was right yesterday. It's not like Caitlin Clark was going to be going deep in the playoffs anyway. But what a great start and what a jump start to a career.
W expert John McClain was all over that prediction.
Yeah.
The numbers are going to be up year to year because Caitlin Clark wasn't in the WNBA last year. So ESPN is going to spin this as a positive that their playoffs will be much higher rated than they were a year ago, even the playoffs without Caitlin Clark.
Yes.
But because they were so low, that really isn't telling you the whole story. It is bad news for the WNBA that she's not continuing to play.
Even during the postseason, she set new benchmarks, with Game 1 drawing 1.84 million viewers and Game 2 soaring to that incredible 2.54 million. And remember, that was her playoff exit. If this is how she goes out, just imagine what kind of impact she could have had if she'd stuck around.
Congrats to Caitlin Clark. Not because she lost and the Fever are no longer in the WNBA playoffs, but what a rookie season for the best player in basketball, in women's basketball, and for the WNBA. So they flame out in 2 games. But no Caitlin Clark now for the WNBA playoffs means what? I'm sitting here thinking about all of the discussion that we had throughout the regular season, that the league is more than just one player. And that's true. I mean, I'm search some of the numbers, Chad. Game 2 of Las Vegas and Seattle had 985,000 viewers. There was another game that held around 830,000 viewers. But I believe Game 1 with Caitlin Clark and the Fever, they pulled in over 1.5 million. And now what happens to that viewership?
Roughly double what you're talking about.
Yeah. And I mean, that was the trend throughout the season, right? I mean, she comes in, takes over the Indiana Fever, craziness, sellout crowds, 769 points, 2 triple doubles in the season. That's important because that had never happened. And she did it twice. Attendance is up like 500% compared to what some of these other games would have pulled, and merchandise up 450%. And now she's out of the playoffs. What a gift for the WNBA and for ESPN for that matter. But now what happens? I'm really intrigued because there's a league with players that feel like they should be getting the attention. Now they have center stage, but the ratings are going to go down.
With viewership plummeting post-Caitlin, is there a panic button being pressed in the league's office? Or can they find a way to reignite that spark and keep fans engaged? It's a critical question that the WNBA need to address going forward.
I know we're not talking about Angel Reese now, but we're witnessing right now for these 2 young ladies that have come into this season. It's been a good thing for the WNBA. We have more eyes watching, more viewership. The revenue is going to start to change. The pendulum for the WNBA players is going to be lopsided in favor of them. I really think they shouldn't have any hatred towards young ladies that are doing well. I know they might be ruffling a few feathers because of the attention that they're getting. It's a good thing, Unc. Everybody gonna eat. Everybody gonna eat. Ain't no need to.
But I'm just trying to. But Ocho, let me ask you this: when I just saw Asia go off, ain't nobody walking in bumping into her.
Ain't nobody finna bump into Asia. Asia don't play that. Come on now. You know
they ain't bumping into Stewie.
But you know who?
My thing. If I'm Caitlin Clark,
you know not to.
If I'm Caitlin Clark, I'd have told Skylar Diggins, get your coat, your brim, and get on out of our gym. Get your coat, your hat, and leave.
Get on out of our gym. I like that. That's a good one.
She don't bump into me. I'm going right, get that thing hot. Come on, get hot, people.
Yeah, I don't think
people. I'm getting the hype.
Yeah, I don't think she got that in her. She not. I mean, she's a dog through her style of play. Through her play, she's a dog. I don't think she has that trash.
Man, y'all stop this foolishness.
Clark came in and was a rookie sensation. She not only led the league in assists, she smashed the WNBA's single-season assist record with an eye-popping 337 assists. And those three-pointers, she drained 122 of them, putting her right behind the legendary Sabrina Ionescu. All this while leading in pretty much every important category: points, assists, steals, three-pointers, you name it.
So it's going to be bad. She had an incredible season. Another thing I'm curious about, and I'm reading this directly from the Outkick story, a tweet from Stat Mamba comparing Caitlin Clark, and it says, Caitlin Clark, 25 points, 6 rebounds, 9 assists. The last rookie in NBA, WNBA playoff history to reach these numbers was Magic Johnson in 1980.
Wow.
I personally like this because this is a comparison point I understand. Oh, Magic Johnson was great. He could do everything. Caitlin Clark just had a playoff series like Magic Johnson did way back in his rookie year. We can all understand that, right?
Yep.
But when did we start combining WNBA with NBA history? That's the first time I've ever seen a NBA/WNBA graphic. I know they're owned by the same people.
We did it, though.
But I've never seen it combined this way.
We did it whenever she became the all-time leading scorer in basketball.
Yeah, well, and they do it because
and that carries over.
No one cares when it says the last rookie in WNBA playoff history was Tina Thompson.
Exactly right.
Or whatever, whoever it was that did it. Oh, okay, great. And people just scroll right past it.
Well, that
but you
also
throw
puts
Magic
in
Johnson's
perspective.
name in there, and it resonates with people.
I don't mind that at all.
I like the stat comparison.
Yeah.
I've never seen a combined NBA/WNBA stat.
And
At just 22 years old, she's already rewriting the record books like a DJ at a prom, breaking records for most assists and three-pointers by a rookie, and even being the first rookie to pull off 2 triple-doubles. So this means that the WNBA has to try by all means possible to have Caitlin Clark on the court. But let's not forget that her explosive entry proved there's serious potential for growth, even if the post-Clark era feels like watching paint dry for some fans.
We've also seen, historically, them put on several rookies, so it's not as if that would be unprecedented. So it's not obvious to me what the plan was here. To me, it's pretty clear. There's some resentment, there's some jealousy, and you can hide behind, she's not a top 12 player. The problem is, they didn't really use that standard for making the rest of the team.
The resentment and jealousy comes from who?
From a variety of people.
Are any of them the people who are making this decision?
I don't know, but I'm sure that the people making these decisions are being influenced and pressured by people that do feel that resentment, that jealousy, which is a vile thing to feel.
Okay, let's say you're right.
Okay.
I don't know you're right.
Neither do I.
But
I'm
let's
just
live in a world
hypothesizing
where
here.
you're right. Let's live in a world where there is a great deal of jealousy and resentment towards Caitlin Clark on the part of the other players who have been there and have built this thing into whatever it was, and now resent the idea that she comes right in and becomes immediately the unquestioned face of the league, which she is. Because what I'm hearing a lot of people say is they should be grateful. She's bringing all this attention, she's bringing all this additional money, and that will eventually rise. All of them will benefit from that. And all that is inarguably true.
Caitlin Clark's playoff exit sent WNBA viewership tumbling, which isn't much of a surprise considering the rise in viewership she brought in the first place.
Ooh, he said a lot. Joy, I will sound off quickly, and then I'm so eager to listen to what everybody else has to say. There's a very thin line between hate and facts, and what I believe to be the case is that there was incremental growth in the WNBA comparatively to the exponential growth we are seeing now. What I'm about to tell y'all I haven't heard before, so I doubt you have either. Before the 2023 season, the WNBA had grown by 40% viewership from 2022 to 2023. But with Caitlin Clark's arrival, it's grown by 400% viewership. What that means is if the WNBA were to continue to grow at the rate it grew from 22 to 23, it would take until 2028 to do what Caitlin Clark did this year. Okay, now let's not talk viewership, let's talk ticket sales. Bear with me. Ticket sales grew in 2023 by 16% from 2022. Ticket sales have grown by 93% in 2024. What that means is without Caitlin Clark, the WNBA would have taken till 2029 or 2030 to get to where Caitlin Clark has gotten them today. Okay, we've talked ticket sales and we've talked viewership. Now let's talk about regular season viewership, not draft viewership. Regular season viewership, it grew by 20% in 2023. It's grown by 180% now, which means it would take another 5 or 6 years to do what Caitlin Clark has done. So between draft day viewership, which is up 400% to 40%, between ticket sales, which is up 93% to 16%, between regular game viewership, which is up 180% to 20%, what Caitlin Clark has done is grown the WNBA exponentially. She did in 5 weeks what would have taken 5 years. And as it pertains to draft viewership, she did in 5 days what would have taken 5 years. So yes, the WNBA was growing before Caitlin Clark. Make that abundantly clear. But it was growing incrementally compared to the exponential growth you're seeing now. And this is just data, this is just objective facts. Be mad with data, please do not be mad at me. Roy Taylor, do you agree with part of this?
Even now, in the wake of her playoff exit, Clark's influence is unmistakable. The WNBA's social media discussions keep her name alive, and you can feel her presence in the league.
It becomes more and more difficult to be reasonable when you talk about it, which is one of the reasons why I think I'm a good person to talk about this Caitlin Clark thing, because I don't have a horse in the race, if you will. I don't have a vested interest. I'm not trying to, as many people out there seem to be, from what I can tell on social media and whatnot, I'm not trying to turn this into a cause so that I can somehow increase my own lot in life. I see the situation for what it is, which is a bordering on unprecedented set of circumstances in a team sport. And it is okay, even though you are a talk show host, to sometimes say, I see both sides. So on the Caitlin Clark thing, I see both sides. One of the reasons that leagues like the WNBA have their players play in the Olympics, particularly in a sport like the WNBA where they actually have to pause their season, right? Their season is going on. For anyone who doesn't know this, their season began when it normally does. They are then jamming at all of their games into the period before and after the Olympics without elongating their schedule. They're playing the same number of games in about 30 fewer days. So if you feel like, if you're one who's relatively new to watching the WNBA, as I fully acknowledge I am, and you're thinking, wow, Caitlin Clark plays every other day, you're right. And it normally wouldn't be this way. Why is the WNBA willing to completely change around its calendar and its schedule? Because the growth opportunity that comes from having your stars compete in the Olympics on the biggest international sporting stage in the world, with an enormous television audience everywhere, but in particular in this country of people who are typically not hardcore sports fans. A lot of people who watch the Olympics, let me say that differently, a lot of hardcore sports fans don't watch the Olympics, because the coverage of it tends to be about so many things.
Sure, the playoff ratings have dipped since her departure, but they're still higher than they were last season. For instance, while Clark's last game garnered a whopping 2.54 million viewers, the first game of the WNBA Finals managed to pull in 1.1 million, which is a significant improvement from last year's Finals opener, which only drew 729,000 viewers. That's a jump of 57%. The first time in over 20 years that a WNBA Finals game has topped 1 million viewers. The Fever constantly pulled in over 1 million viewers during the regular season, which has set a new standard for the Finals. Yes, the ratings may not be where they were when Clark was in the spotlight, but the growth and excitement around the WNBA can't be ignored.
But obviously, it's always important to give credit where it's due, and I think we all realize where the credit needs to be given as far as the success of this WNBA season. Caitlin Clark came in and made such an impact on how many people started to care about the WNBA. This was the highest viewed season in the history of the league. In 28 years, the numbers were stellar. Caitlin Clark drew a whole new fan base into it. And now the question is, because she has been eliminated, she and the Indiana Fever are eliminated after losing 2 games to the Connecticut Sun. What is the rest of the season going to look like, ratings-wise, for the WNBA? Are people still going to care? That is the question on everybody's mind, because when you look at the numbers with Caitlin Clark there, her first playoff game, drawing 1.84 million viewers, ridiculous numbers. The highest rated playoff game since Game 2 of the 2000 WNBA Finals. This wasn't even just an opening round game back in 2000. This was one of the finals games. So this clearly is showing how much of an impact Caitlin Clark is having. A total of 22 WNBA games clocked north of 1 million viewers. That surpassed the standing record of 15 games set in 1998. The Indiana Fever, remember, Caitlin Clark was drafted first, which means last year they were the worst team in the WNBA. It did not matter because this season they were the most watched team in the league. An average of viewership, 1.1 million viewers each game in the regular season. Other games, listen to this, paled in comparison, drawing just about 394,000 viewers on average per game. So 1.19 million versus 394,000 for the rest of the WNBA teams.
As the league continues to develop and evolve, All eyes will be on Caitlin Clark when she makes her anticipated return. Remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and smash the notification bell. Thanks for watching.